What's up, YouTube? This is Will Black Ops Pro, and today I'm going to tell you guys why I think Ghost 2 might actually save the Call of Duty franchise, why it might actually potentially be the best Call of Duty ever. Now, we both know that Call of Duty Ghost, the original Ghost, that is, wasn't the greatest game. I personally like the game, but a lot of you guys out there don't like the game. And yes, there are a few game-breaking problems with that game, just like there are with a lot of other CODs, but we can be pretty certain that Black Ops 3 will not save the franchise. Now, some of you guys may be having fun on the, might have had fun on the beta. I had fun on the beta, and yeah, it was somewhat fun, but keep in mind, guys, this game, whether you like it or not, is not Call of Duty. It doesn't have, people claim it brings it back that classic Call of Duty feel, but with all the advanced movement and futuristic stuff, it's truly not Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty by name only, kind of like Advanced Warfare was. Like, Advanced Warfare, it had Call of Duty in the box, but at the end of the day, it didn't really feel like a Call of Duty. It felt more like just a futuristic, like Titanfall or something like that. So we all know that in November 2016, Infinity Ward is set to release their next game. And their next game will most likely be Ghost 2, because if you guys remember from the Call of Duty Ghost campaign, there was a perfect cliffhanger, a perfect ending, that means there is most likely going to be a sequel to the original Ghost storyline. But there is also a possibility of there being a Modern Warfare 4. Now, this is also quite possible because of how poorly received the first Ghost game was, and because if they have Ghost in the box, people are going to say, "Oh no, Ghost, the original one sucked. I'm not going to buy this game." And if they made a Modern Warfare 4, people will be like, "Oh, the Modern Warfare series is great. I'm going to buy this game." Either way, here's what Infinity Ward needs to do if they're going to make a great game. If they're going to save the franchise, and if we're going to have something to play, because Black Ops 3 multiplayer, I don't think I'm going to be playing much of it. I mean, I'm probably just going to get the game just for zombies, but the multiplayer, I just don't see myself playing. So, if Call of Duty Ghost 2 wants to save the franchise, they need to make their game set in the modern era, or maybe even near future. Like, the original Ghost was set in the near future, set in 2026, but there was less futuristic bullshit, like there wasn't BO2, so a lot of people thought it was set in the modern day. It needs to be something like that, because it needs to be something relatable. We can't have jetpacks, we can't have advanced movement, we can't have all these robots running around. It just doesn't make sense. And we also gotta have like realistic weapons, realistic kill streaks. I don't want to see just all these futuristic looking guns that just look like crap. I don't want to see all these kill streaks that look like they're taking out the year 2100 or something. I just want to see something like modern day. Like, I want to see an AC-130. I want to see a chopper gunner. I want to see something like that. I don't want to see like this mothership crap that gets shot down after only a kill or two. But we also must keep in mind that Infinity Ward also has to correct a lot of the mistakes they made in Ghost. Ghost was by no means a perfect game. You got a lag compensation that made you get insta-killed all the time, kind of like in Black Ops 3, but I'm not sure why people aren't complaining about the instant melting in Black Ops 3. But it was pretty present in Ghost. You know, then we got the support package. The support strike package was pretty overpowered. You got oracles in there, which lets you see through walls, and you got a plethora of other score streaks in there. Support does not belong in the game at all, so that needs to be removed entirely. And then we got the credit class system. I didn't like the pick 35 because it wasn't innovative at all. At the end of the day, you're just taking one normal perk, you're splitting it into 3 other perks, and then that doesn't make an actual system. That doesn't make a good system. That's just a BS. That's just BS. Even pick 10s, actually no, pick 10's nothing worse than pick 10, but I prefer just the regular, you know, regular pro perk system like they had in MW3, like they had in Black Ops 2. They need to return something more like that. And another thing that Ghost 2 needs to change up a little bit is the map design. In Ghost, the maps didn't really have the best flow to them. They also weren't very appealing to look at. Now, some of them, like Stonehaven, looked nice, but they didn't flow correctly, and they were pretty big. Next, we got maps like Tremor, which Tremor, it didn't flow right, and the whole map was like black and gray, so that map didn't really look that nice, and it didn't flow too nice, so no wonder people didn't play it. Another thing that's important to keep in mind is that the Ghost maps were nowhere near Battlefield size maps. I actually played Battlefield 4. The Ghost maps are nowhere near that size, even Siege. Now, Siege is pretty big for a COD map, and it is too big, because half the map isn't even used for combat. It's just there, like, I don't know, just to hide in. It's Siege also, it's not the most appealing to look at, so maps like Siege really need to be looked into. But if Infinity Ward can bring us good maps, like we had an MW2, and just bring us maps like that, like Terminal, like that was a great map, then this could be a really great CoD game. They also need to make sure there is no advanced movement in the game, because the biggest problem I have with advanced movement isn't the fact that it lets you jump around in gunfights, it's the fact that they redesign maps in order to accommodate the advanced movement. And the maps they redesign, the maps are just garbage. Let's be honest. The maps that we had before MW3 were great. Like, there were very few maps that were just outright terrible that I would never want to play. However, ever since MW3 and Black Ops 2, the map designs have been getting bad. I mean, they've been taking out verticality, probably to reduce the amount of camping in the game, trying to make it go faster, but verticality adds a different element to the game. But not only that, Black Ops 2 and MW3 don't really have anything to do with advanced movement. In Advanced Warfare, they completely overhauled the maps to make it so that there's raised platforms everywhere, and that they made sure that you can double jump places and boost slide and do all that. And in Black Ops 3, it's no different. They have platforms so you can jump on. They also have a bunch of walls you can wall run on. There's random walls everywhere. It just doesn't make for a very appealing map design, in my opinion. We really need to go back to the old map designs, and you know, I'm not sure why they all of a sudden changed, because Black Ops 1 maps and Black Ops 2 maps look way different in terms of map design, not just color scheme, but map design. So, yeah, you definitely, guys, Infinity Ward, you definitely need to go back to the old map design, because those were great maps, and people love them. So, hopefully they do go back to boots on the ground gameplay, because they can really use that as a marketing tactic, because Infinity Ward lost a lot of credibility with Ghosts, and a lot of people don't have any faith in them. But if they promise boots on the ground, fun gameplay, like a military arcade shooter that's not just a futuristic BS like Advanced Warfare and BO3 is, then they can probably gain a lot of the fan base back. Because Infinity Ward, at the end of the day, I don't think they're a bad studio. I think they just made a few mistakes with Ghosts, like, you know, the support, the lag comp, and some of the maps. But if they can bring us good maps, and they can fix the lag issues, and make it so the bullets kill in a reasonable amount of time, then I think it's going to be a really fun game. And also, people are saying the streaks are weak in Ghost. Guys, the streaks aren't that weak, and sure, there are some useless ones, like, for example, the Trinity Rocket is just a nerfed down version of the Hellstorm. Okay, that I understand, but you got the Helo Pilot. The Helo Pilot is like a gunship, except that the Helo Pilot can't really be shot down. Here, let me tell you why. There's no anti-airstreak launchers that you can equip in the creative class. So there's no Stoa 3s or M72 laws or SMOS rockets or anything like that. You have to either shoot down with your gun or use air superiority. But here's the thing with air superiority: you get 2 flares with the Helo Pilot, and the air superiority only shoots 2 flares at you, or I mean not flares, 2 rockets at you. So you can counter both of those missiles with your flares, so you're essentially invincible to that streak. So most of the time you don't get knocked down out of the sky. You can just shoot the guys who are shooting at you with LMGs. They're pretty easy to find. But that streak was great. The Battle Hind, yeah, that was okay. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad either. And the IMS, yeah, that was like a camper's like wet dream, because you can just place it by a doorway and it gets you 4 kills, but essentially, you know, it shoots little bombs up there and blows anyone up who tries to pass the IMS. So it's great for guarding doors. That was by no means a bad streak, but campers used it, and I guess most of the COD community doesn't camp, so I guess they didn't like that so much. But the streaks and Ghosts, they weren't the best, but they weren't the worst either. In Advanced Warfare, there's a bunch of worthless streaks that are worse than the ones in Ghosts, so yeah. But what I would recommend is that Infinity Ward, just bring back the AC-130, bring back all those big streaks, because MW2 would have been a great game if it hadn't been for the noob tubes and the quickscopers. So make sure in Ghost 2 that quickscoping is completely removed from the game. No one wants it, and ever since it's been implemented, ever since it's been catered to, the player count keeps dropping. So that's proof that people don't like the imbalances in the game. People want a balanced multiplayer. Another thing that you guys need to work on at Infinity Ward is the movement, because here's what I mean. In Ghost, you couldn't really run around. And what I mean by that is that the weapons moved so slowly. For example, even with an assault rifle, you move slowly. Like, why are the aim down sight times so slow compared to Treyarch games? And why is the mobility so slow compared to Treyarch games? One of the reasons Treyarch games are more fast paced, I believe, is because you don't need to run quick draw and you don't need to run lightweight just to move around. Those are optional, and those, yeah, they did augment your performance, but they weren't essential. You didn't have to run them. In Ghost, try running around with an AK-12 without a quick draw, and without Stalker, and without agility. Just try doing that, and it's very difficult. The problem is even worse with bigger weapon classes such as LMGs, which run extremely slow. The raise drop times are extremely slow. Just everything is extremely slow about them, which discourages rushing, and it makes camping just that much more viable. Because I just noticed that, like, there's no reason to run around in Ghosts if your raise and drop time and your aim down sight time and your mobility is so slow. So let's go with the assault rifle class. So the assault rifle class, you only run at 90% of the base speed, which is different from Treyarch games, because in Treyarch games you run at 95% of the base speed. And to be honest, guys, that may not seem like much, but it's a pretty big difference. That is noticeable. So yeah, that's basically like you have to run lightweight just to run as fast as you would in Black Ops 2. Let's just say. And also, the aim down sight time, 300 milliseconds is too much. In Treyarch games, it's only 250 milliseconds, so that definitely needs to be adjusted back to 250 milliseconds for assault rifles, just to make them more competitive with SMGs. Because yes, they're not supposed to dominate completely at close range, but they're supposed to be usable. They're not supposed to be slow, because in Treyarch games, only LMGs have the aim down sight time to 300 milliseconds. Sniper rifles are slower, usually 400 milliseconds, but they're sniper rifles, so they have to be kind of slow. So they really just need to change that, because I feel like if they made it so you could rush better, then Ghost 2 would be much more fast paced. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't want to waste points running quick draw, or I don't want to waste points running agility. Agility's 2 points, quick draw is 3 points, so that's 5 out of my 8 points there that I spent on these perks to make me rush. Another thing is that in conjunction with the lag comp makes it seem like you have very low health. Guys, you had 100 health in Ghost, just like you did in BO2, and just like you did in other CODs, but the hit detection in combination with the lag comp, I believe, just made it really, really a fast time to kill. I don't think it's the hit detection's fault, because MW2 had a good hit detection. It wasn't like that, even when people were running around stopping power. And Black Ops 3 has horrible hit detection, and you get insta-killed a lot, so I don't think hit detection is a problem. I really think it's a lag comp, which makes there a built-in delay between when you're actually getting hit and when you're notified by the blood splatter on your screen. And I think that's what makes you seem like you have low health all the time. And when it feels like hardcore, and people realize that taking one bullet is going to kill them, people will tend to sit in corners or sit in the back of the map with thermal LMGs. And yeah, some people have fun doing that, but I don't think Call of Duty should be played that way. And I think it should be a little bit more fast paced, so you definitely need to work on the lag comp and the netcode, and maybe even put some dedicated servers in, just to make sure the game works right. Another thing about Ghost, too, is that you need to bring back the UAV. Now, I know the UAV can be annoying, especially when it's spammed, like it is in Black Ops 3. Everybody's running the UAV. The problem with Black Ops 3 UAV spam is that Ghost doesn't work. And, well, it does work, but it doesn't work effectively. You have to literally be sprinting, otherwise it won't work. And even if you're just running it, like walking, it doesn't work. And the reason why people complain so much about the UAV spam in Black Ops 2 is because Ghost was weak. It wasn't worth running in most circumstances. So that's why Infinity Ward listened, and they made the SATCOM. But the SATCOM is completely useless, because it only shows enemies on the map when you see them, like when a teammate sees them or you see them, and they're in your direct line of sight. And you need 2 SATCOMs to make 1 UAV, so this severely nerfed the UAV, and this is why there was pretty much no radar in that game, and there was no VSAT or anything like that, which is another problem. So what you need to do is you need to bring back the UAV, because The UAVs are important in the game. They've been a staple in the CoD franchise. I mean, sure, there have been a problem in games where the Ghost gets nerfed on har, but to counter that, just bring back Ghost where you can sit in a corner and not be seen. I'm not saying it just so it helps campers. I'm saying it because try playing with Ghost in Black Ops 3. You need to be rushing around all the time. You can't stop to reload. You can't stop to regen your health. You can't stop, like, when you know there's like an enemy behind a head glitch right above you or right ahead of you, and you can't go back because you know there's more enemies there. You can't, basically, you can't take yourself out of the combat for any reason at all, no matter what the point reason is. Like, you could be in a terrible situation and have to reload and have to do all this other stuff, but you still have to keep running around, otherwise you're going to be seeing the minimap. It's ridiculous. So you need to make Ghost how it used to be in the older CoD games, how it was in Advanced Warfare, how it was in Ghost, the original Ghost, how it was in Black Ops 1, how it was in MW3. You gotta make it like that so you don't have to be moving all the time. And that will counter UAV spam, because you know what? If you don't want to deal with the UAVs, just wear that and you're perfectly fine. And the noobs can get their 3 Killstreak UAV and you can be perfectly fine. So you can do that, but you also need to bring back some sort of VSAT or some sort of a UAV, or no, sorry, Blackbird, because the Blackbird is essential to Call of Duty. It allows you to see all enemies in real time on your minimap, even ones that are using Ghost, which is great. I like using that, and for people who just hate Ghost and they want to have the UAV on all the time, they should just run that. People have been saying in my comment section, oh, Black Ops 2 did Ghost right. No, they didn't. Ghost was never used that much in Black Ops 2. Except by some tryhards, sometimes tryhards used it, but what's to take a mode like Search and Destroy? Do you really want to rush around the whole match? No. Search and Destroy is more one of those slower game modes, and not having Ghost kind of ruins that game mode. I'm not a big Search player, but if one enemy has a UAV and they just call it in, they can see your whole team because no one's running Ghost, and even if you are running Ghost, you have to keep moving around, which is going to get you killed a lot of times. So yeah, that's a big downside, and that needs to be fixed. Vonhar is not going to fix this because there's not enough people complaining about Ghost in order to bring it to his attention, and also because he's trying to make his game this perfect utopia where everything works out fine. It's the perfect Call of Duty. But let's be honest, guys, it didn't work in Black Ops 2, and it's not going to work in Black Ops 3. In fact, utopian societies don't even exist, not in video games, not in the real world. We're not going to get a perfect COD game, and you know, the more perfect Vonhar tries to make it, the more broken it's going to be, because let's be honest, an overpowered Ghost is better than an underpowered Ghost, because in Black Ops 1, yeah, some people claim that Ghost Pro was overpowered, but the Ghost perk wasn't overpowered because you had other perks to counter it, like, you know, Flak Jacket. Flak Jacket Pro is pretty powerful. And, you know, Scavenger, well, that was good for people who like to go on long streaks. So there are other perks out there that people could use instead of Ghost. Ghost people's like because, I mean, you know, the UAV spam, of course. And it also had Blind Eye built in, so yes, it was a powerful streak, but it wasn't overpowered to the point of being game-breaking. Like, one-man army, danger close noob tubes, yeah, that was game-breaking, but Ghost doesn't affect you unless you use UAVs, so having an overpowered Ghost is better than having an underpowered Ghost. Just keep that in mind if anywhere. Another thing that definitely needs to return is either the kill streak system or the point streak system like we saw in COD Ghost and MW3. The reason these systems work out better is because you didn't have streaks that were overpriced. Like, for example, the dogs in Black Ops 2 were 1700 points, that's 17 kills, while in Black Ops 1, the exact same streak was only 11 kills, and that was a kill streak system. In Ghost, the streaks were reasonably priced. A helo pilot's 12 kills, and you know, the gunship in Black Ops 1, which it pretty much closely resembles, was 11 kills. Now, that's pretty balanced. It seems pretty balanced that way, and also the point streak system is a happy medium between the two systems, the kill streak system and the score streak system, because you do get points for capping flags and for playing the objective. I mean, you don't get as much as you would in a score streak system, but it's enough. Like, you cap a flag, okay, you get a point. You get a kill, you get a point, and it works out fine. There's no need to bring back the score streak system in Infinity Ward. I'm glad you didn't in Ghost, because that would have screwed up that game. I mean, I just don't like the score streak system, mainly because of how expensive it makes the score streaks. It makes it just hard to get them. It was hard to get them in BO2 to some degree, depending on what game you're playing, and it's hard to get them in BO3. And in a game without score streaks, it's just not fun to play. And I think a lot of people are overlooking that fact that a game without score streak is not fun to play in the Black Ops 3 beta, because they're getting their specialist abilities left and right. And let's be honest, those are basically glorified support streaks, which definitely should not be in the game. But people are having fun with them, so that's why they're forgetting that they're not getting their motherships, they're not getting their haters, they're not getting their race, because they're too busy getting their annihilator pistols, and too busy getting their crossbows, and too busy getting just whatever other insta-kill weapon that Von Hart decides to give them. So the point is, the game just needs to be fun. It needs to have a fun factor to it, and it needs to have good streaks, they need to be easier to obtain than Black Ops 3. And also the maps can't be too small. I mean, making small maps, the one reason Von Hart does it in his newer game is to speed up the speed of the game, but the maps are just way too small. I mean, one hailstorm can wipe out half the map, and you know, with these advanced movements especially, it's just way too easy to get around. So the maps are just too small in Black Ops 3. I'm not saying make the maps huge like Siege, but I'm looking for like a happy little medium, right? Right, like with Black Ops 1 maps. You got maps like Jungle, which are great maps, but they were larger maps. See, larger maps can be fun, they just have to be built right. So we don't want a bunch of like clusterfuck random obstacles in the way, but we want a good combination of small maps like Nuketown, Fire Range, medium maps, and then large maps. Like, you know, I think Terminal was probably a large map, or larger medium map, and then you got Jungle, that was a large map. Just maps like that, maps that are fun, maps that are realistic, maps that don't look cartoony. And also, just a little side note, I definitely think the COD point systems should return from Ghost and from Black Ops 1, because it allowed you to buy what you want when you want it, so you didn't have to wait until the end of a Prestige just to get that one gun you want or that one perk. That's just a small thing you should add to your creator class to make it great. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the commentary. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about Ghost 2 saving the franchise or possibly being the best COD ever if everything goes right. So, thanks for watching. This has been World of War. If you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys later.